When he wakes up, Kanji finds himself in the body of a 10-year-old boy named Falma de Medicis, the son of an esteemed family of medical practitioners in the Seine Fleuve Empire. He was a famous doctor before he reincarnated. There was a reason world-class medical researcher Kanji Yakutani lost his little sister to a tumor years ago due to ineffective treatment. To honor her legacy, he has dedicated his research to developing new medications for such conditions. But as fate would have it, he overworks himself and passes away at the age of 31. Only to be given a second chance at life in another world. His personal mate said that he has been granted a divine blessing from Panatheos, the god of medicine. Because he has forgotten everything, she introduced everything for him. First see who is in his family. His father Bruno de Medicis, then his mother Beatrice and sister Blanche sitting on her lap. After that his big brother Paul de Medicis. Your big brother knows how to use the divine art, and so do you. She said the divine art is known only to those favored by the god. He said I don't think I know divine art. She said if you don't know, the whole family will look at you with bad eyes. Then he tried to figure out how to use the divine art. He then closed his eyes and began to think. Then his two shoulders started to glow, and suddenly a lot of water came out of his hand. Then he saw it, and did not understand what to do. He ran to the window and threw everything out. The entire garden and its maidservants are completely drenched in its water. Then it's better if I can make something other than water. He can make elemental compounds but no mixer. He was doing something else when someone slammed the door. She was his maid Charlotte. Then he finally came face to face with his family. Her mother said we were very worried. When he saw them, he thought that in this life, I will save everyone who could not in the previous life. Then his teacher saw him and said, this boy is not my student, there is some confusion. He said no problem, I just forgot everything. She said you could said so from the start. She said that there is nothing to be done. Then he went to the river together. Since you forgot to bring your wand, you are using mine today. Well, let me show you how to do it. Then she demonstrated her own strength in front of Falma. When he uses it after the show, seeing so much power, his teacher fell over. Then she came up from there and said, what happened to you? She said that a man uses this much power once in his entire life. Then checked his strength to see if it was okay. The meter in his hand exploded. She was shocked to see that. After this incident, he went to a park with her and see together. Then he saw what she was looking at straight when he saw it through his finger. Then he saw the pain in her finger and fixed it with his own eyes. That's when he told her. She said, how do you know this power of the divine eye? This power belongs only to God. How do you know this? Then she asked him, where is your shadow? After seeing that, she got scared and went away from there. His strength was seen. She was feverish with fear. She did not come the next day to teach him. He prepared medicine for her and went to her house. She was so afraid that she came before him wearing a clad in iron. He said, since you have fever, I have prepared medicine for you. Of course it's poison. Please forgive me, God. Don't give me the wrong medicine. He gave her a bunch of blue flowers to distract her and said, I am human. Then he left from there. She was worried when she went to take the medicine. Then thought Panatheos the peaceful god. She took medicine and her body recovered. So she went to meet him the next day. Went there and said, then let's start your training. Then one day he was sitting on the stairs. He looked carefully at each one and saw what disease they had by his divine eye. Then he started making medicine for them. It is a very simple thing for him. Then he went to the maid and said, I have brought a medicine for you. She was overjoyed to hear this. One more thing. I have made medicine for everyone and will give it to them later. He went home and saw that everyone was upset. Her father said, your sister has chickenpox. He then began to worry about chickenpox. Then he went home and started preparing medicine for his sister. When the potion was ready, he took it to his sister. He went there and saw that his sister had red spots on her body. He told his sister that if you take these medicines, your body will be fine. When her sister got better after taking this medicine, her father came to see her. He then invented the microscope to better examine patients. His father asked him to accompany him to see the patient. He said, what happened to who? He said, your majesty's health has deteriorated. Everyone is very worried about your majesty. Then they came and reached there. Then the head physician there said, let's go and see the majesty. Your majesty's body was so bad that she could not get out of bed. Look at her. and said so that women this nation empress. She is the Majesty Elizabeth II. His father checked her body to see how she was doing. Then they started talking among themselves. Not much time left for your majesties. Then he tried to treat her with small potions. She asked him, I would be fine. And he said, yes, of course, your majesties. Then the head physician said to the men that tomorrow night is the last time, your majesties. Hearing this, he did not remain silent. He thought that I must do something. He then looked at her with his divine eye and tried to figure out what had happened to her. After examination, he realized that she had a lung disease called white dead. Suddenly her son came running from behind and he started crying. Seeing that, he could not bear it and came forward to her. He said there are new medicines exist in the world that will fix your body. Everyone was shocked to hear this. Then he started making medicine for His Majesty. Medicine was going to be his new invention. His father then broke the door and came there. His father shouted and told him to stop giving false hope. He said this drug really exists in this world. His father tries to stop him with his own power as he makes the wrong medicine. He then used his own power to create an ice wall in front of him to block his father's power. His father was surprised to see that. Then his father looked over his shoulder and said that Panatheos had blessed my son. I understand now, you can make medicine. After that he removed the ice wall he had created. His father was shocked to see that. Then he appeared there with medicine. He wanted to see something by microscope of His Majesty before administering the medicine. His Majesty was shocked when she saw it through the microscope. Then she asked, what are those things? He said, these are tiny bacteria that live inside the body and slowly destroy the body. He said, the medicine I will give you will destroy this bacteria completely. Hearing this, she says, okay. Then he gave her the medicine, then she ate it. He then told everyone that once they started taking this medicine, no one would die from the white dead disease. Then they returned home from there. He got down from the horse carriage and said to his father, you will take this medicine. It will make your body better. After this incident, he goes to her to see if she is okay. Then he saw that His Majesty's health was fine. She said, there is no problem taking the medicine given by you. My health is fine. When he heard that, he left from there. Because he saved her, he was called to court for this. His Majesty wants to give him a reward. His Majesty called him close and said, young Pharma, I hereby authorize your immediate promotion, apprentice official Royal Pharmaceuticals. Then his father congratulated him. Since His Majesty got permission from him to open a pharmacy in the capital, people rushed to build pharmacies there. Then he started sketching what his pharmacy would look like. Everyone was surprised to see that the work started very quickly. Then he thought what to name the pharmacy. Then he named his pharmacy Parallel World Pharmacy after a lot of thought. Accountants are required to keep track of all items as the store is set up. He then started thinking about whom to take. At that time he goes home and finds out that he who sees finance as his house is retiring because of his knee pain. His name is Cedric. Then he told him, once your knee is fixed you can work in my shop. Cedric said sure. He then left. From there, then his father wants to give him a gift in happiness of opening a new shop. It was a box full of gold coin. He said, I can't take that much. Then his father said there may be many problems in new shops. It is better to keep money in hand. Because of this noble shop everyone is afraid to enter. For this reason, they were very worried what they should do together. Then Charlotte came from behind and said, I went out and asked everyone's opinion this shop. She then started talking about the problems of the shop one after another. Hearing this he said, I hope everything will be fine. The first and regular customers called Gabe and came to that store, came and took medicine and left. After all this, 4 of us went to Riverside for a holiday. Then his teacher said, you don't go for swimming. Seeing them playing, he said, I will not go, you go. Then he saw his sister playing by the river. Seeing her reminded him of his sister in his previous birth. Then his sister once said, let us both go and play by the river. After hearing that, he said that when you grow up, you will go and play. Exactly 1 year later, his sister was diagnosed with the disease. He was very sad to think about it. Then he looked straight and saw his sister drowning in the river. Unable to bear it, he jumped. Then he felt that his sister will not be able to survive. He was so angry that he made the water in the middle of the river disappear with his power. He kept the entire empty space in the middle under his control. His teacher was surprised to see that. Then he came to the riverside and examined his sister thoroughly with his divine eye. Everything seemed fine. After this incident, the people of the church came to know about this incident. They then began to investigate. Then they came to his shop and watched for a long time. One day suddenly a horse ran towards his shop and broke into the shop. When the shop was being repaired, a woman came there and said that my father's health is very bad. Then he came and said, let me go and see what happened. Then he took the horse and went with the woman. Then he dismounted and looked back and saw that the woman was not there. Instead, he was surrounded by men on horses. Then they said, raise your hands and shut up and go back. Then he started attacking one after another. In the first fire attack he put out energy like a fire extinguisher. Then seeing that they started another attack of their own. It was an ice attack which he also melted with the ice wall he created. Then they decided to finish him completely. Then they all attacked him together. After the attack, they saw what the situation was. Then he gave a flash of his power that caused the front man to fall from his horse. Then he went down and realized that he was not an ordinary boy. Only God can have such power. Then he realizes that he is no one else reincarnation of Panatheos. When they found out about it, they bowed their heads and apologized. Because of that he was going to kill himself when he didn't let him. In addition, he decided to treat him as he had fallen from the horse. First he saw with his own divine eyes what was his condition. As the bone is broken, surgery is required immediately. He wondered how he would do this. Then his operation started there. After the operation went on for a long time. After the operation, he came out and said that he will get better if he rests. After his body recovered, he appeared at his shop with a gift of sweets. He didn't just come there to give gifts, he came to give something else. It was a divine stick. When he picked it up, a white glow was emanating from it. Then her teacher said from the side that it looks so beautiful. When she goes to grab it, it falls through her fingers. He said that since it is God's stick, it cannot be touched by ordinary people. Then suddenly he thought of taking it again. What if I could sit on it and fly? He tries and succeeds. Seeing that, they said, you are absolutely amazing. Then he passed by the road and saw a woman in a shop asking, medicines from Parallel World Pharmacy are not available here? Then the shopkeeper said, we cannot sell that medicine here, as the medicine of that shop has not been approved by guild yet. Hearing that, he began to think. He then decided to establish a new guild, so that local shopkeepers can sell our medicines. Meanwhile, during the night, the shopkeeper's little daughter became very ill. That's why he went to the local doctor's office in the morning and started pushing. Falma came there and asked, sir, your daughter's health is bad? Then he said that I work in Parallel World Pharmacy. I am a pharmacist. You bring your girl with me. Then he brings them to his shop. Then he said, put your daughter there. Then Falma asked him, daughter's father, how your daughter's health is getting worse. After knowing everything, the Falma examined her thoroughly with his own divine eyes. Checked well and said, your daughter only has a cold and nothing else. Then he said, I have medicine. Your daughter will get better by taking this medicine. Then he thanked him. He was still writing the medications when his wife entered and informed him that they were effective. Then he said that it was the medicine brought from that noble pharmacy. Then wife said, you are forbidden to have any contact with that shop, he said. If I had not gone there, my daughter would not have lived. Then he said in a tearful voice, let's see what happens if the guild leaves us. Unable to bear this, the guild's people destroyed his shop. Falma went there and inquired about him, asking him how he was doing. He said, they destroyed my shop because I went to your shop. He said, look, you can do something. I have organized a new guild, you can join me if you want. Then he joined and opened his new shop. Everyone was waiting in front of his store as his Parallel World Pharmacy was the first partner store. When he saw this, his eyes filled with tears. He welcomes everyone with him. After that, while they were sitting at the table talking, a letter came from his big brother. After reading the letter, his father told him, you will come to my office later and meet me. He went to the office and asked his father what he had written in the letter. His father said, what your brother wrote is, 4 people were working in a research center. They were doing research with a tissue sample. The disease was slowly spreading with tissue samples. Because of this, everyone died one after another. Then their lab was closed. Hearing this, he asked his father to tell his brother if he could send another sample. Then his brother sent him another disease specimen, which was his sketch. Seeing that, his body trembled. He then went to his father and told him, that it would be very bad if a cargo ship carrying disease came to our shores. Then he said, I realized that once the disease spreads, there is nothing we can do. Then he said, there is no problem. I have made a cure for that disease. His father was surprised to hear this. He said that medicine has been developed but infection has to be prevented. Then he invented a big microscope to check the disease. He explained to him how to use it. Then he said, the medicine you sent is ready. He was explaining the medicine to everyone when a man appeared. He then said that the people of village had fever and many have died. Then he heard that and decided that he should go there. Then he flies on his stick wearing his protective gear to go there. When he got down from his stick and tried to convince the villagers stopped him. Then, unable to convince them, he encircled the entire village in ice with his power. He then revealed, I am from the capital and I am the official pharmacist. I have medicine, if you eat it, the disease will be cured. Then he went to a house in the village to cure the disease. He opened the door of that room and saw many patients there. Many other priests were ministering to the patients in that room. A priest among them interrupts and says, what are you doing here? Then one of them said, you don't know who he is. This is a Panactheos, the god of medicine. Then he said, I started treating them. Then he examined them all with his own divine eyes. After examining them, he began to heal them with all his strength. Even so, he is a one man, he needs more people. They were seeing the patients till late at night. A villager thanked him for working late into the night. Then he left from there. He was asked to check the samples from gate 6. He then tested the sample and found that it spoke of the disease. He said, now we have to give medicine quickly. He was going to give medicine. Suddenly someone attacked the capital. The one who attacked had the power of wind. He uses his own wind power to blow up the squirrels. He brought there and scattered them all over the capital. The fight was going on in the capital. Their wind power was very strong. Capital knights could not hold them for long. Then Solomon came and stopped them. Solomon said since they went against the rules of the temple, they were to be severely punished. Then Falma reached the capital very quickly. He went there and saw that the disease had spread among all the people. Then he noticed many squirrels were roaming around the capital. He was about to catch them when he suddenly saw his father walking. Then he went to meet his father. Then the capital knights asked the captives what was your purpose. They told them that a devil ordered them to do the job. While the interrogation was going on, he felt an evil energy. Then he saw with his divine eye that in the distance there was a black object standing on the roof. Then he went to see. He went there and saw that there was a strange black power inside his shop. Then they broke the door and entered inside and see. The man with black energy attacks them and knocks them unconscious. That dark energy is none other than Camus, his father's childhood friend. Then her father started attacking him. Then he went to them and saw their multiple diseases. He then began to cure one disease after another through his divine eye. When her father couldn't take it, she stood up to him and said, your crooked game to save people. It is better not to save people like you. He said, why not? You don't understand how much I have done for this world. Unable to listen to these counter-arguments, he punched him out. Then he used all his strength to attack him with his divine staff and finish him off completely.